Hey, it's Deb, and if you have a beautiful hanging basket and you want to keep it looking beautiful all season long, I've got some tips and tricks to help you do just that. Tip number one, plant it in the right location. So make sure you know whether your basket would do better in a sunny spot or a shady spot. There should be information inside the basket in terms of what's planted in there and what conditions they prefer. If you're not sure, ask your local nursery. But this is definitely meant for a shadier area, so I'm putting this on my porch. I would not put this in a hot, sunny spot. So, location, location, location. The second tip is keeping your plant watered throughout the season. And, you know, some people say water once a week, water every 2 weeks, water every few days. My rule of thumb is, there isn't a rule of thumb. My rule of thumb is it depends on two things. It depends on the plant, it depends on the container, and it depends on the location and nature. So if you've got a hanging basket hanging out in your garden and it rains for a week, obviously you don't need to add any more water. These types of baskets, it's more of these natural fiber baskets, tend to dry out faster than like your plastic containers. So just monitor it, check. I know last year I had a similar basket like this hanging out in the sun in a very windy location, and I had to water that particular basket more frequently than some of my other ones. Particularly, like if it's in a shady spot, it probably won't need to be watered as often. So just check it and make sure you do keep it. This is nice and moist, so this is good to go. When you do water your baskets, another tip is don't water from the top. Take your watering can or bottle or whatever you use and water in here. So that way you're really getting to the roots and you're not knocking off any of the pretty flowers with water at the top. So that's another tip and some advice. The third is to keep it fed. These babies are putting a lot of energy into making beautiful blooms for you all season long. And if they run out of energy, they're going to quit, right? So you need to give them some good food and sustenance throughout the season. I usually fertilize mine about once a week during the growing season. I prefer fertilizer that I can just put right in my watering can that's water soluble and just give it some food. If you're not sure what kind to use or how often to fertilize, ask your local nursery where you purchased your basket. The other tip to keep it going and growing is deadheading. Yeah, baby. So if you see any, this is one. Once the flowers go by, pick it right down to the stem. Okay, so what that does, another one. I'm going to actually take that all the way down there. See that? I just took that off. What that does is A, it cleans it up so it looks better, and B, all that energy that the plant's putting into keeping these dead ones going and growing takes that energy and applies it towards blooming new flowers and keeping those roots healthy. So deadheading is really important. Now you can buy some plants that you don't have to deadhead often, if at all. They're kind of self cleaning, but still check around and take off any blooms that have gone by. And the final tip is don't be afraid to give your hanging basket a good haircut. And this is really later in the season. I see this particularly with petunia baskets. They can get really leggy and they just don't look so good. So I will cut them way back, and that seems to help bring those plants back and looking beautiful later in the season. And I'll show you later in the season. But that's it. Enjoy your lovely baskets. Take care of them, and they will bring you joy throughout the entire season. And I am getting black flies in Maine. A little bit of a thing. So they're after me today. So I'm going to end this video right now while I'm feeding the black flies with my scalp.